Welcome back. The government confronted with more labor issues regarding the multi-million-dollar point development in downtown Nassau. Labor Minister Dion Folks telling reporters ahead of today's cabinet meeting that a report from the point's management indicated a 100% increase in Bahamian workers, but there are indications that this may not be the case.
We too conducted a survey that did not quite coincide with their numbers. Yesterday morning, the Director of Labor personally went on the site as a result of a meeting with Mr. Sands last week. I am awaiting the report from the Director. There were about 4 or 5 investigators that went with him, and they interviewed all of the persons working at the site. So I am hoping that we can get a comprehensive report that both the Department of Labor and the management at the point can agree with.
Now, there have been concerns about the reclassification of jobs at the site, resulting in the hiring of more foreign workers.
That is one of the things that we want to make sure is not happening. We want to make sure that non-Bahamians who are at the site are only doing jobs that Bahamians are not qualified to do or not available to do. And that is why the Director of Labor went yesterday morning. I do not want to preempt his report, but it was a personal visit that he made.
At the moment, Mr. Folks said he could not give an exact ratio of foreign to Bahamian workers, but again stressed that there has been a significant increase according to the report. Harvey Tynes, QC, and Robert Adams from Graham Thompson's Grand Bahama office will no longer represent the government in its fight to proceed with the removal of shantytowns. The attorneys have parted ways with the Office of the Attorney General due to a difference in legal opinion. Now, Attorney General Carl Bethel did not get into the details over what that difference of opinion was, but he did tell reporters today his office will take on the case.
Government position will be resolutely defended as to every single point raised in the application for judicial review, and we will await the guidance of the court. We are not afraid to stand before the seat of justice and to plead our case to the best of our ability on every single point alleged against the government.
Mr. Bethel says the government's actions have always been in good faith and in the best interest of Bahamians, and that includes shantytown residents. The Shantytown Task Force here in New Providence has been dissolved since the injunction back in August, but according to chair of that committee, Senator Dion Folks, it's still quite active in the Family Islands.
Active in Abaco. As a matter of fact, today a team is going in Albuquerque, which is Oaktown, to do a survey. I think there's a small community there that we're going to do a survey on. Myself and my permanent secretary and a group of us, we're going to have a meeting in Marsh Harbor on Saturday coming to announce the next phase of what we're doing in Abaco, which is to continue our consultative meetings and also to explore alternate housing arrangements.
This, he says, is a huge challenge in the Marsh Harbor area, which may have anywhere from 2,000 to 7,000 residents in the mud. When asked if he's concerned that there may be another lawsuit, the minister says he doesn't anticipate that as the government to proceed with activity on the Family Islands. If the government's looking for a reason for its so-called problem, the opposition leader has the answer, and he's chalking it up to the imposition of its ill-advised, politically motivated tax hike. JCN's BJ McDermott has the story.
The estimated $8 million the government stands to lose in gaming taxes suggests deeper budgetary challenges. At least that's what opposition leader Philip Davis makes of the figure. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest admits could actually be higher. This, of course, depending on how long it takes for the government and gaming bosses to see eye to eye on the new increased taxes on webshop and their patrons. In the case of the former, those taxes climbed to as high as 50% on taxable revenues over $100 million. If all went as planned, a 5% tax would have been levied on both deposits and any non-online games digital sales. However, that's being delayed until the court hears the matter.
The government must come clean to the Bahamian people on whether it will meet any of its revenue and expenditure targets. as projected in the current fiscal year. Blaming the opposition PLP is just a smokescreen, a distraction, and another lie, but no lies lasts forever.
That said, Mr. Davis sees the imposition of the new taxes as politically motivated, with the harmful intentions, he said, of crippling a legitimate, highly regulated and Bahamian-owned industry, displacing the current principles.
Their attacks on the gaming sector were personal in nature, and their approach reeked of cronyism. With their track record of turning over the container port to their friends and political donors, how else can they explain these draconian tax measures? Secondly, the policy was inherently discriminatory in that while the government offered generous tax concessions to various other sectors and groupings such as the Grand Bahama industrial sector and the residents of Lyford Key, it sought to first demonize, then crush the gaming sector.
The PLP leader is calling for the minister-led administration to come clean to Bahamians and do what's right. In the meantime, attorneys for gaming house operators and the government return to court for a judicial review on these taxes on October 5th. In the interim, the two are expected to sit and discuss the merits of the case. Reporting for JCN News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, the opposition also weighing in on the national examination results, pointing out that overall there was really a decline in performance, begging the need for the education minister to really get down to work and improve the outcome. No real surprise, but this year's results show that girls continue to outperform boys, receiving higher percentages at grades A through C and lower percentages at E through E. Males, however, outperformed females at D. What education officials found particularly interesting is that females increased in percentage at grades A and B this year, while males decreased in performance at grades A through C. Males also increased in percentage at grades E through G. Both, though, decreased in percentage at U. Of the 27 subjects tested, improved performance was noted in 13 subjects: art and design B and C, auto mechanics, clothing construction, geography, office procedures, keyboarding, commerce, English language, graphical communication, literature, and mathematics. Even with the more heavily subscribed subjects like mathematics, English language, biology, and religious studies, none had a 100% subscription rate. And this is said to be partially due to some schools entering 10th and 11th grade students to sit the subjects a year or two in advance of graduation. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.